Hi, greetings for the day. Today's topic is how to enable audit trials in Oracle e-business suite. These are all the contents that we will be covering in this session. We'll start with a brief introduction on what is an audit trial is all about, and we will see what are all the configurations needed to enable this functionality, and we will also be demonstrating with a live example on configuration and also the execution perspective, and we will see are there any standard reports available for this functionality, and once the audit trial is enabled, how to disable the audit trial. And I will also be providing the reference notes like metalink notes or any links to any documentation to get a deeper or a better understanding on this functionality. And finally, vote of thanks. Without further delay, let's get into the actual topic. What is an audit trial? Audit trial retains a history of changes to data. It includes the following information: what got changed, who changed it, when was the data got changed. This is a brief definition of an audit trial or what actually the audit trial is trying to do. Now let's try to understand in a simplified language. All we are talking about changes to data. We all know what is meant by a data. Now we need to understand when we call a change. You might have heard a word called CRUD operation: create, read, update, delete. So if you are creating any data, if you are updating any data, or if you are deleting any data, that means you are doing some modification or change to a data. So this is where we are interested in. If somebody created or modified or deleted, we want to know what is the value or what is the information they changed it, who did that change, and when was that change carried out. So this information is captured as part of audit trial or audit log. I hope now you got a better understanding on what is meant by an audit trial. Now let's see how to enable this functionality in Oracle e-business suite. These are all the configurations needed. These are pretty straightforward and simple configurations. I'll just run through these configurations now, but when I'm demonstrating with a live example, we will be discussing in detail about each of these configuration. First, we need to enable a profile option called Audit Trial Activate, set to yes at site level, and we need to enable an audit installation, and we need to define the audit tables or columns for which we want to have the audit trials, and we need to link all these audit tables as an audit group, and we need to run 2 concurrent requests, and finally we need to ensure whether the requisite audit tables or views got created or not. So these are the list of configurations that we need to do in the application. Without further delay, let's get into the live demo. Let's start our demo with a simple example. Say business wants to capture the modifications or changes happened on the supplier master, specifically on these 3 fields: supplier name, supplier type, and payment terms. Now we need to identify what is the base table in which this data will get stored. In this case, it is AP suppliers. And also we need to identify what are all the columns in which this data will get stored. So basically you need to identify the table name and column names for which you want to enable audit trial. Now let's start with the configurations. The first step in the configuration is you need to enable the audit trial profile option. So navigate to the application, system administrator, profile, system, query that profile option. In the site level, set it as yes. Now we are done with the first step in the configuration. Now let's see the second step. Enable audit installations. This configuration is optional. We can discuss at a later point of time what exactly the audit installation means, but I will show you the navigation. All the audit trial related configurations can be found in the System Administrator Responsibility, Security, Audit Trial. So this is about audit installation. Here, since we are trying to enable audit trial functionality on the AP suppliers table, we need to search with AP. So under this Oracle username, the audit is already enabled, so nothing to do from our end. Then we will move on to the third and important step. Define the audit tables and desired columns. So the navigation also mentioned here. As I already told, it will be available in System Administrator, Security, Audit Trial tables. Now here, search with that base table, AP suppliers. See, there are some columns are already available under audit, but I think these are added as part of the initial installation, initial setup. So just ignore the other columns. Now let's add the columns for which you want to enable audit trial. So click on this new record button, enter the column names. What are all the column names? Vendor name, vendor type lookup code, terms ID, right? So vendor name, vendor type lookup code, and then terms ID. Oh, okay. So this column is already, if you see here, the terms ID column is already added in this list. So system will not allow you to add once again. Just delete that column. So these are the three columns for which we want to enable audit trial: terms ID, vendor name, vendor type lookup code. So for whichever be the table you want to enable audit, you have to come to this window, add the table, add the columns, and you just need to keep in mind the primary keys in the table will automatically get added. In AP suppliers table, vendor ID is the primary key table. Whether you add it manually or not, system will automatically add the primary key column in the audit tables window. So we have done with our third configuration step as well. Define audit table and desired columns. See, here you can add all the columns in the table, but usually for which columns you need audit, you have to add it, else it unnecessarily burden the system. Now we are moving on to the fourth step. Define an audit group and associated tables. Again, from the navigation perspective, it is in the same menu. Come to Audit Trial Groups. Here you can select the application as payables. Let's say supplier master audit trials. You can give the name as you feel relevant. Basically, let's say you are enabling audit on P2P related tables. You can give the audit group name as P2P. So it is up to you whichever name you want to provide for audit group. This is more important. Group state. Whenever you are creating the audit group for the first time, it will be enable requested. You have disable interrupt audit, disable prepare for archive, disable purge table, and enable. So these are the options available. When you are creating it for the first time, it will be under enable requested. After you complete the required configurations, then it will be in enabled status. The three options, the disable options, should be used when you want to disable the audit trials, that we will cover at the end of this topic. So for now, let's keep it enable requested. Our audit group name is Supplier Master Audit Trial, created for testing. So here you need to select the tables and which you want to group under this audit group. So in our case it's AP suppliers. Okay, then save it. So you have enabled the profile option. We also verified the audit installation. The third step is definition of audit tables and columns, and the fourth step is definition of audit group. So definition of audit group is very much important because the audit functionality works based on the audit group. Now let's move on to the fifth step. We need to run this program. Actually there are two programs. First we need to run this audit trial report for audit group validation from the system administrator itself. So just remember this group name. I'm just copying this name. View, request, submit a new request, audit trial. Let's audit trial report for audit group validation, audit trial update tables. These are the two programs which we will be using it. Just select this. Here you need to give your audit group name. Remember, Supplier Master Audit Trial is the group name we have provided. Then submit. Just wait for a minute, it will quickly finish. Basically what this program does, it creates all the requisite audit views or shadow tables, means after running the second program as well. So just wait for a couple of minutes. Yeah, it was completed successfully. Let's see that. Yeah, it is checking audit is enabled on this. AP suppliers is valid, so nothing to be concerned about. So let's move on to the another program, audit trial update tables. This is also a very much important program to be run. Just click on submit. Before the program gets completed, I just would like to give a few more insights about this audit functionality. See, if you see here, we have enabled audit on AP suppliers, right? This is the base table. Once you complete all those required configurations and after running the requisite programs, what system does, it will create a shadow table. AP suppliers underscore A. You can call it as a shadow table or audit table. AP suppliers underscore A, and it will also create few views. AP suppliers underscore AC1 and AP suppliers underscore AV. I'm just keeping X here where X denotes number. Example, under AP suppliers table you have enabled for 3 columns. Okay, so there will be 3 tables created here. AP suppliers AV1 and AP suppliers AV2, AP suppliers AV3 for these 3 columns, let's say. But remember guys, when we went to audit table column under AP suppliers, there are already some existing columns, so the sequence will not be 1 2 3 for these 3 columns. It will be in the sequence, maybe some 20th or 21st column it could be. That we will see in the log file. Okay, let's check once again whether this program completed successfully or not. Good. So this is also completed in normal. Now just check on the log file. So not to worry on these entire data, let's move on to the one specific section where I would like to show you what are all the tables which got created. Okay, let's search with this AP suppliers AC1. Yeah, see here, these are the views that got created. AP suppliers underscore AV 1 2 3 4 5 till 26. So that means on 26 columns the audit is enabled in this table. But again, in our demo we have enabled only for these 3, but there are some existing columns for which the views got created, and there is also another view AP suppliers underscore AC1. So these are the tables or views that will get created after you complete the configurations and run this program, and it will also create few database triggers. These triggers are the actual ones which does that audit log functionality. Okay, so from the functionality perspective, we should understand these tables and how the data will get stored in these tables. That we will see in our example. I can also show you from the backend on these 3 tables. Select star from apps AP suppliers. So this is the base table, we know it, right? Now let's move on to the audit tables. Let's just check apps AP suppliers underscore A. Yeah, so table is created but there is no data, no worries. Then select star from apps AP suppliers AC1. Yeah, so this view also got created. Actually this view is a combination of base table and audit table AC1. If you see here, audit transaction type C means constant, so this is the constant data before enabling audit. Then we will also check the AV tables. Let's say 26, right? Let me try with 23 whether is it the column which we are looking for. Yeah, so AP suppliers AV23 denotes our terms ID. This is one of the column which we are interested in. So let's check the other 2 tables. Could be AP25. Let me check. Yeah, vendor name. Select star from apps AP suppliers AV26. Correct. So these are the 3 tables we are interested in, because as you see, we want to do a demonstration on these 3 columns, right? Vendor name, vendor type lookup code, terms ID. So under AV tables, so AV23, 25, 26 are the ones which are needed for us. So these are the tables or views that got created after we enable audit. Now let's see, by doing some modifications on the supplier master, how the data will get stored in these tables. Before that, let me check. Okay, I think I have taken this. Yeah. Okay, so we will take this 3M healthcare as an example for our test case. In this vendor, this is the current value for the vendor type lookup code, and this is the terms ID. Okay, now let's go to the front end. Now from the configurations perspective, we have completed all the configurations, and the last step is confirm existence of audit tables. So for this base table AP suppliers, the audit table is already existing. So that means we have completed successfully all the required configurations. Now let's see how the functionality will work. Go to supplier master. It's okay. Let's navigate once again. Navigating to payable module, suppliers, entry. Okay, let's take this 3M Healthcare, click on update. See, even though we are interested in 3 fields, I just want to do an update for the supplier name in the first instance. Then we will do modifications for the subsequent columns as well. 3M Healthcare. Currently this is the name, right? Now I'm just adding underscore update 1. Okay. So I just added underscore update 1, U1. Then saved the record. Okay. So we modified the name from 3M Healthcare to 3M Healthcare underscore U1. Now let's see how the data is being stored in audit tables. First, in the base table, let's check whether the data is modified or not. Yeah, vendor name is currently showing as 3M Healthcare underscore U1. Now we want to see what is the modification, who did it, when was that modification done. These are the 3 attributes we are interested in. Now let's see how the data is being stored in the audit tables. First, check in the base tables. So in the audit table, now you can see one record. Previously it is blank, right? There is no data. But since we did some modifications after enabling Audit Trial, system started capturing the changes. So audit timestamp. So on March 23rd, there is an update. U means update. Who did it? It's my name. It's my username. It also gives the session ID or a sequence ID. And if you see here, these are all the columns except the primary key. These are all the remaining 25 columns that will be shown here. But out of these 25 columns, the column for which we did the change, only for that column this value is been shown, the previous value. Okay, basically under audit table, it shows, hey, you did some modification on this table. Before doing modification, this is the value 3M Healthcare. But if you see in the base table, now the name is 3M Healthcare underscore U1. Now let's see how the data is shown in AC1 view. So let's filter it with vendor ID. Just a minute, we need to get the vendor ID for this. Yeah, 600. Okay. I just limited the data for this vendor alone. Now if you see here, under AC1 table there are 2 records, updated one and current one. Okay, after update, what is the current value basically. So again here also you can see the audit timestamp, when the change was done, who did it, and what was the change. So these are the columns which is the existing values. Okay, now let's go to the column which we are interested in. See here, vendor name, now it is shown as 3M Healthcare underscore U1. That means this view is showing the updated figures after the record has been updated. What is the values in the all the 25 columns, what is the latest value after doing the updates. Now let's go to the AV tables. So guys, do you remember which is the table for vendor name? Is it AV25? So but okay, let's see on these 2 tables as well. Let me add this condition so that we will get only for this table, only for this vendor, sorry. So terms ID, no change, so that's why there is only 1 record. Vendor name, yeah, here there is a change. See here, this table shows that column level chronological updates. Previously it is 3M Healthcare, now there is an update happened, it is 3M Healthcare underscore U1. Okay, so hope you understand the table or a data structure. So using these views, we have to build the reports. Anyway, I'll talk more about the reporting functionality. For now, try to understand how the data is being stored. So underscore A table contains if you did any modifications to the data, so for which columns you did the modification and what was the value before doing the modification will be captured in underscore A table. Whereas underscore AC1 view, it shows the record after the updates. So if you figure out the delta between A and AC1, you can easily identify what was the value before doing the modification and what was the value after the modification. And these two tables or views contains the audit stamp as well as the audit username. So it gives all the information what we are interested in as part of audit trial. Audit timestamp, audit username, who did the modification, and what was the change, the previous value, and after the update what was the new value. Whereas AV tables basically gives on that specific column all the changes that was done in a will be kept in a chronological. So this gives a complete history of what was the values in that column before update, after update. So this is how the data has been stored in the respective audit tables or columns. I hope with this example you understand how to enable audit trials and how system captures the audit trials. You need to understand this table or view structure very clearly, then only you will be able to build any custom reports to share this information to the business users. Okay. Now let's continue with the updates in the rest of the two columns and see how the data is being stored. So this will give you a complete understanding of how the data will get stored in the shadow as well as views. I'm navigating to the supplier master page where I'll select this 3M Healthcare, click on update. Now I'll be modifying the vendor lookup. So before that, let's see the data, how the data is currently available in the master. So name is _U1, the vendor type is company, and the terms ID is 10,001. Okay, let's do a modification to the vendor type from company. Let's change any other value. Let's say change to carrier. Okay, and then save. So far we did two modifications. We changed the name and we also changed the type. Now let's see the data. So in the base table, now the vendor type has been changed as transporter. And then let's see the audit table. See, in the audit table, previously there is only one update record. Now there are two update record. And you can see from the sequence wise, this is the latest update, 67 ending with 6758. Now see the data as we discussed earlier. This table stores the previous value of the column before update. Now let's navigate here. See, in this record, in the latest update record, it shows null for vendor name. That means in this session there is no update happened on the vendor name. The update happened on the vendor type. So that is the reason here it is null value. Here it's a company, means before update company is the value. Okay, I hope now it makes more clear to you how the data is being represented in this audit table. Now let's see under the AC1 table for this vendor. Now you can see there are two updates and one constant or current record. Here also this is the latest one, 6758 row key. Now let's see under this. Yeah, see, it shows the latest value transporter. Okay, and this is the latest information of that entire record for all the 26 columns. What is the latest value? The name is _U1 and also the type code is transporter. Now let's see the AV tables. No change in the terms ID. There is only one record. And if you see under vendor ID, there are a modification. So as we already discussed, now let's see on the vendor type lookup code. See here, previously it is company, now it is transporter. So this is how the data is being stored. Let's quickly do the third update as well. What is the third update? Terms ID, right? Now let's go to the invoice management. Here the terms is immediate, right? Just change to something else. let's say 13.8. Okay, and then save. Now let's quickly check the data. First, in the base table, the terms ID, now it is showing as 10,002. Previously it is 10,001. Now let's check in the audit table. Now there are 3 updates and also the date and the person who did the updates. Now you can also see the row key, and then you can also check now the terms ID have been updated here. That means this is the value before update. Now under AC1 you can see 3 update records and there is a sequence as well. So 6758 under the same session, so there are 2 updates. So this is the latest update. So go to the terms ID, it shows now 10,002. Previously it is 10,001. When the previous updates happened, this is the latest value, whereas in the latest updated record this is the newer information. Now you can see under AV23 the history. So the terms ID previously it is 10,001, now it is 10,002. So this is how the data will be stored in the respective shadow and views. So with this we have primarily completed the demo part of it on the required configurations with a live example. So I just want to highlight few things when you decided to enable audit. First, on the audit tables definition. If you see here under Audit Trial, we will be adding the columns, right? So one point you should keep in mind, once you enabled or added any specific column under this table, there is no option for you to delete. If you see here, the delete option is disabled. So you should be very cautious when you are adding the columns. Once you add it, you cannot delete from this table. So that means systems keep capturing all the audit trials on that column. So that is a very reason we could not able to delete any of these previously added columns. So as I have shown, these are all added as part of the initial setup. So we don't have any option to disable audit on these columns. We just need to add the columns for which we are interested in. That is one important point. Another thing is on the performance part. See, usually especially we hear the concern from our database administrator. The moment you said, hey, we want to enable audit trials, they'll come up with concerns relating to the performance, the database performance or application performance. So you need to have a thorough performance assessment before deciding upon the audit tables or columns for which you want to enable audit. You have to do a thorough testing on database performance or application performance as well. Our next topic is reports. Currently there are no standard reports available for audit trial functionality, but there is a limited functionality has been given where one can define the reports as per their need. Let us have a quick glimpse of that functionality. Navigate to System Administrator Responsibility, Security, Audit Trial under Audit Trial Reporting. Here, click on Audit Report. So here you can select the functional group for which we have enabled the audit. It is Supplier Master Audit Trial, and then you can also mention the table name AP Suppliers. So here you can select up to 5 columns for which you want to generate the report. Anyway, in our demo we have taken only for 3 columns, so we can add all the 3 columns: vendor name and vendor type and terms ID. So these are the 3 columns for which we want to have a report. So there are few additional parameters as well, as we have seen in the previous screen. Then just click on Run Report. So this is an ad hoc report. Whenever you want, you can come to this page and run the report as needed. Go to View, Request, Find. So it has been completed. Just click on the View Output. So as we have seen, this is a text based output, and also we have seen a limitation of maximum 5 columns can be added. Let's assume you're adding some 20 or 30 columns or even more than that, so then this functionality is not sufficient. So that's the reason most of the customers, if they want any report for the audit trail functionality, they will go with the customization. Let's quickly see the data for our records. I'm searching with my username. Yeah. So if you see here, so this is the date and timestamp. What was the change done? It has an update. So the column 3M Healthcare U1, who did that modification, and what is the values for these three columns before the update? Company 10,001. So again, there is one more update happened at this point of time. There the vendor type have been changed to transporter. Now there is also another update happened at 134 where the terms ID changed to 10,000 T2. Sorry. So now if you see, as on at this point of time, the current value of the records 3M Healthcare underscore U1, the type is transporter, and the terms ID is 10,002. So this is the report functionality available for these audit trials. Now let's move on to the next topic, how to disable an audit trial. For any business reason, if you want to disable the audit trials, we have few options available. So one is disable prepare for archive, disable interrupt audit, and disable purge audit. Do you remember where we have seen these options? Right. When we are defining the audit group, so where you have these options. And I also mentioned that we will discuss in detail about the functionality of these options. Now let us go and check the values and try to understand what does each option means. Just query the audit group for which we define supplier. Yeah, if you see here, currently the group state is enabled. Do you remember? Initially it is enable requested when you are creating for the first time, but after you complete all the configurations and run those two concurrent request programs, the status will be updated to enabled. Once it is enabled status, then only system will start capturing the audit trials. Okay. Now we need to talk about the disabling of audit trials. So these are the three options available to disable an audit trial, but each has a different functionality. So you need to understand what does that option means. Okay, let's start with disable prepare for archive. Now if you set this value disable prepare for archive, what it does, it copies the current value of all rows in the audited table into the shadow table. That means in under AP suppliers table, what are all the current values, let's say you have for 10,000 supplier master records, all the 10,000 records will be copied on to the shadow table, means underscore A table. This option requires the most space because again you are bringing all the base table data to the shadow table. Okay, and then you should archive the table before you empty the shadow table. So this is one such option gives you. Okay, now the second option, disable interrupt audit. If you choose this option, what it does, it modifies the triggers, the database triggers, to store one final row in the shadow table as the audited row is modified. Okay, and post that any insert or changes will no longer be audited. When compared to the previous option, this is a bit better in terms of data volume. Now the third option is disable purge table. So the moment you set to this state and run the audit trial update reports program, it deletes all the data in the shadow table. It will clean the table. Okay, so basically even for the previous values, once you set this option, you have to run that audit trial update report program mandatorily. Okay, this is what we called out in the previous slide. If you see here, you can disable audit using either disable prepare for archive or disable interrupt audit based on your business need. and you have to run the Audit Trail update tables report program to take into effect. If you miss this program to be run, then the audit will still be continued. Okay, so this is how you can disable the audit trials. We are coming on to the last stage of the session, the reference notes. These are some of the meta-link notes which I can found about for this functionality. So go through these meta-link notes on Oracle support to get better understanding on this functionality. How to enable audit trials and overview of audit trials. These two notes give most of the information about this functionality. With this, I would like to conclude this session on how to enable audit trials. I hope this session helps you to understand what is meant by an audit trial and how to configure and what are all the precautions to be taken before deciding upon enabling audit. Thank you so much for watching the session. If you like the content, please do subscribe to my channel. I wish you a great day ahead.